Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, pimps and simps, welcome back to the Mac Life, the number one podcast here in the world. We're back for episode 150. That's right, 150. Let me actually check. I hope we're at 150. We're at 149, you're saying. Yeah, we're at 150. We've made it. And if you're new to the channel, okay, we got absolutely everything to do with growing your brand online, monetizing that brand, Onlyfans marketing for creators, and then Onlyfans management. So how to manage ladies' Onlyfans accounts and make exquisite amounts of money. Now, if this is the first video that you've watched or podcast that you've listened to, okay, I do these in podcast style format, hence being a podcast. We go over some updates going on in life. I give you some general business advice, some tips, and I'm documenting my journey from where I am now all the way to $100 million. So it's in long format, so expect that's how it's going to be. And then at the end of the video, we get into the juice. Now, today we're going to be looking at a real live example as well of a Hive student that has applied the pricing principles that I've talked about, and as well as a few key other things that you want to understand. And essentially, how we're able to generate up to $1,000, sometimes even more, from a single conversation in minutes on OnlyFans. And you know, this becomes really, really powerful when you understand scale and you understand attracting high quality customers, because customers that are willing to spend this much money, as long as you nurture the relationship, they generally have a lot of money and they are willing to spend a lot of money on you as long as you provide value. So, and these are definitely the customers you want to be with. You don't want guys going, oh, it's too much, $10 for a photo. And the way in which you weed these people out is with pricing, because the higher you price, okay, the better quality you'll get. And yes, it's going to be a little bit harder initially to attract customers, but sometimes it's actually easier. But we're not getting into that yet. We have so much to go over with the updates. So the first update that I want to go over is, do you know how many people say to me, where can I speak with you one-on-one? Bro, I've sent you an email. Can you reply? Bro, I've sent you an IG DM. Can you reply? No. I don't reply. I don't speak with anyone one-on-one unless I want. The best thing is I can charge thousands of dollars for a consultation call, and I have multiple offers sitting there of people wanting to spend thousands of dollars for consultation calls, and I don't need them. It's ultimate power, and this is almost, you know, as Andrew Tate's been saying about being removed from the matrix. I feel there's levels to being removed. And so, like, when you get to a level where you don't have to worry about calling into work, your boss telling you what to do, the way you speak, the way you act, that's a level. But in business, when you get to the level where you genuinely don't need people's money and it's better off just to do what you wanted to do, and that takes quite a while to get to. It's taken me 3 or 4 years to get to that stage. You know, once you get to that stage, well, it's taken me 5 or 6 years actually. Once you get to that stage though, you become a very powerful individual in that you don't have to worry about these people. Like the comments that I receive a lot are, I'm thinking about joining the Hive Mind, but I need to have a conversation with you one-on-one. Sure. Are you thinking about buying Microsoft? Why don't you just have a one-on-one conversation with Bill Gates first? You know, are you thinking about buying a fucking Apple computer? Why don't you go have a conversation with Steve Jobs' new predecessor? Why don't you just go through and speak with them before you purchase? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen here on the Mac Life. The best you might get is a YouTube comment reply. Every now and then I might slide in a reply to an IG DM. That's it. And as I get bigger, it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger at scale. You know, like I said, it's the compounding effect. And now my account is compounding. And it's funny how many people told me, oh, you're growing so slow, you should focus on this tactic, you should do this. I never take advice from people who aren't in the position where I want to be. And so I look at these people. And you know, some people that give advice, they actually have bigger audiences. But when I ask them, how much money does your YouTube generate you? And when they tell me their numbers, they are baby brokey numbers. So I do not listen to those people either. It may sound harsh, but that's just the way you have to be. And the way in which I could articulate this is I could be very humble with it and say, look, I only take information from people in positions where I'm aiming to be. No disrespect. I already have certain mentors and I'm following their guides. But guess what? That's fucking boring. Let me put on some theatrics for you, okay? No, you can't speak with the big source. It just doesn't happen. Now that point's been cleared, you don't have to ask any more stupid questions about where you can speak with me, which is can't. Okay, the only people that I speak with, like I chat inside the Hive, inside the Discord server. I drop fucking gems in there. And a lot of people, the reason you join the Hive is people need accountability. A lot of people say to me, oh, I've, tried for 2 days and I haven't been able to get a girl. And I say, the first girl that you get on board should generate you 10K a month. That's 100K a year. And you want to make 100K a year online instantly from day 2. Should it take 2 days? Should it? Maybe you're just not putting in enough volume. And that's really what I want to talk about is volume. You're not putting in enough volume. You're not putting in enough work. And, you know, I'm saving this for the Onlyfans stuff down below because there's a lot about base rate fallacies that I want to go into. But really, volume is key. Most of your problems can be fixed with volume, and pretty much all productivity hacks, like I've just been absorbing so much information from Alex and Mozzie. Pretty much all productivity hacks, unless they're actually being productive and you define what the word productive is, meaning get more of specific task done, they're not productive to you. They're counterproductive. So a lot of people say, yeah, but I make sure that I'm getting this right and I'm doing this before I start, and then I'm making sure that I pay my team so I'm getting the highest ROI, and I make sure. And I'm like, you're not focusing. Like, if you were to take all that time that you're fucking around and sit there cold prospecting on the phone, cold DMing, cold email blasting, you would probably have a girl within 1 day of working a 10 to 12 hour day. If you legitimately said to yourself, day 1, I need to sign up a girl. I'm going to sit here 10 to 12 hours today and I'm going to email as many people possible rather than be like, I'm going to optimize lists to find me the highest prospect leads, and I'm going to pay someone to go through and scout leads because it's a savior of my time. You don't make any money yet. You shouldn't be looking at an ROI on your time. You don't make any money. You're trying to skip the work. You're trying to skip volume. And that's what so many people who start online businesses are doing. They hear about other people making lots of money and they think, oh, well, that's easy. I get to skip all the work. No, you don't. You do not get to skip work, and that will catch up. You may get lucky once, but it will catch up with you very, very quickly. Volume is key. And so I'm even looking at right now, like me, my good mate, and my cousin, we want to start a podcast. And I'm like, boys, you just need to be committed to the volume because I am a volume machine. If we're going to do this, we're going to do this hard. We're all going to drop a reaction video a day plus a podcast a week. We all need to be scheduled in. We all need to be timed in because otherwise it's a waste of time for me. Even though it's not about money, it is about, I would like to see growth on it over time. So, you know, it has to be done correctly. And I am managing my business, dropping 4 YouTube videos a day, you know, gym, training, language study, everything else, taking care of the Discord, taking care of Hive members, working on churn mitigation, all of these things. And yet I'm still like, you know what? Could hammer out a podcast and another reaction a day. Machine. The coffee wrecks me sometimes, especially that coffee. She's a little Thai lady down there that makes coffee in this town where I am. I've talked about it before. There's it's weird enough that like this town is so small, and the one shop that does like bacon and eggs and stuff like that, they're also half Thai. They're half a Thai shop, so the little Thai lady down there makes coffee. So I normally get my coffee from down there. Now, Thursday coming up, I'm getting my teeth sorted finally. What does that mean for the podcast? Because I've been able to drop reaction videos, I'm actually thinking like, shit, this is going to be insanely hard off my MacBook Air. I like the lighter one for travel. But the camera, I don't want to have to take an external camera, and I'm going to have to film reaction videos while I'm traveling. And what does this tie in with my teeth? Because once I get my teeth done on Thursday, and they give me my last, couple months of Invisalign trays, I can then plan it out so that I'm going to be overseas, and I'm going to be in Turkey to get my veneers done. I'm going to do all of Europe, so there's going to be a big Euro trip coming up. But I have to plan all of this out, so I have to figure out how I can still deliver on these reaction videos. Whether I film them from the iPhone and find out ways to sync, I still want it to be, a thing where I'm not going to burn out, where it's as easy as the setup that I have now, where I can mass deliver. Today I didn't drop the pen, I dropped the whole book. That must be good luck. So, I have to figure that out. I was just looking at the iPhone 14, then I'm going to order that. But it said, if you pre-order from the Apple Store, it takes 2 to 4 weeks to ship. And I was like, fuck, it's going to be like the iMac, which took forever to come. So, I don't know if I'm just going to rock up to JB Hi-Fi and see if they have them on the release day, or I don't know. I'll call them. I guess I might call them and find out, because I really want to get on that straight away. Even that little bit of increase, like I said, the best part about having capital and that I can leverage capital to make things better. So, What do I mean by that? Even though I have a lack of skill in filming, I still believe I'm very novice in the YouTube game. People are like, oh, you've been doing it for a year, 2 years. You know, I'm very novice. My videos are very basic. They're very novice. But for a one-time trade of capital, so I can spend money, okay, I can produce higher quality videos indefinitely until something better comes out, and I can continue to do that. And I'm not changing anything else. I don't have to set up cords. I don't have to set up lighting. I don't have to set up no additional skills needed other than the fact that I can leverage capital and get a better result. So I'll instantly do it as fast as possible. And that is not just leveraging capital, but if you've listened to the 4 pillars of leverage I've been talking about, that's leveraging software. I'm leveraging technology. So I'm leveraging better software for a better outcome. It's a one-time trade for infinitely better outcome. So I still feel I need to find another course. I definitely learned a lot from the 14-day filmmaker course, but I am going to look for another film course. I really wish there was some editing and, you know what would be a cool course that doesn't exist and I would pay instantly large dollars for it is minimalist editing for iPhones, minimalist editing for Mac products. Like if I could just film the reaction videos the way I do it, and it shows minimalist editing, how to edit in under 5 minutes, like legitimately time save. I don't need to send it to anyone. I don't need to fuck around, upload, re-upload, wait for them to do things. If there was like a 5-minute edit thing where there was a course that shows you how to do that, I would pay whatever, 5 grand, 10 grand, because it's a one-time trade of capital for knowledge that's going to bring me an ROI over time. So if that's you and you're working on that course, you've already got your first customer there for 5 Gs. But it better be a damn good course and it better teach me some real shit. So hit me up if you got that course. As well as that, today's the last day that I'm on these antibiotics. I had to rerun a whole fucking set of them. So I've got actually just 1 more left to take and then I'm done, then I'm clear. I don't have the staph infection anymore, but they told me to finish the antibiotics anyway. Once it's done today, then I'm going to heavily load my brody with prebiotics, get the stomach back to optimal. Even though I feel good now, I'm lifting weight, I'm gaining weight, I'm doing all these things, I'm gaining strength back. It's like, imagine how much freakier I'll be. So, on top of that, people say, I hear this from Gary Vee a lot. You need to be patient. You need to be patient to be successful. What I've realized is he may actually mean it in a different way to what you perceive as well. Because once you start making money, okay, like I remember when my goal was just to make, if I could just make an extra couple $100 a week, it means I could, go out with here and I could do this. And I was a young boy and I was like, and I could take girls out here while still working from here and doing this and do that. And anyway, it got to the point where it's like, oh my God, 1,000 a week, then 1,000 a day. And then it just continues to move. And so now it's like, I look at it and this is really, really important. It's more so being patient when you have success is the thing. It's not about being patient when you don't have success, because that is just fixed by a large, you almost have to be insane. You have to work hard for an unreasonable amount of time. And then what happens is you win, because the way in which you can rephrase that is, if I work long enough hours for a ridiculous amount of time, it's unreasonable that it wouldn't work. If I'm, like I look at my YouTube, if I'm to put out 4 videos a day, and I'll probably find a way to make that more, if I'm to put out 4 quality videos a day for the next 10 years, and continuously be single-minded, single-focused, it is unreasonable that I wouldn't gain 1 million subscribers within 10 years. It is unreasonable that wouldn't take place. It is unreasonable that I wouldn't build a brand to the point where it can be sold for $100 million. And I've got 25 years. If I look at it and I'm like, I do this for 25 years, okay, and I may pivot to higher leverage opportunities, but if I continuously work at what I think is the highest leverage opportunity and I put in extreme amounts of volume for the next 25 years, it's unreasonable that I wouldn't achieve my goals. It's just, so it almost stacks in your favor when you reverse it like that. But coming back to patience, that's what it's like. It's very easy to work hard when it's not working, okay, until the point where it starts to work, and then you lay off it, and then you backtrack, and then you get complacent, you get comfortable. It's very hard to be patient and continuously do the boring work day in, day out. But it's funny, like I started this podcast and I said to people, I'm going to be putting out a podcast all the fucking time, non-stop, every week. There's going to be a podcast. Then I move to daily. Then I move to this. Then I move to that. And so I look at it. We're at episode 150. We were only just at 100 and everyone's saying, bro, congratulations, such a milestone. You should feel accomplished. You should feel that. I did. Like Kobe Bryant, I felt accomplished. It was fantastic for 5 minutes. And then I'm back to the training pitch. I'm back into it. And very quickly, those who sat around and celebrated for a long amount of time, you may be at 108, you may be at 109. I'm already at 150. Soon I'll be at 200 podcasts. We'll already be at the 200th podcast milestone very soon. And so and very quickly after that, it won't take long, in terms of how quick life goes by, it won't take long until I'm saying, this is your 1,000th podcast episode. And people go, holy fuck, you've put out 1,000 podcasts. That's why. And people say, oh, but you have a brand, you have this, you have that. I also have filmed 1,000 podcasts. So it would be unreasonable that I wouldn't be successful. And so do you see what I mean? It's all about volume. And so when you tie that back to OnlyFans, especially as a manager, or even as a creator, if you were to sit there 10 to 12 hours a day replying to people on Tinder and sending them across from multiple accounts or utilizing other things or content creation or whatever it is, and you're to do that for a year, 2 years, it's unreasonable that you shouldn't be earning hundreds of thousands online. It's unreasonable that it wouldn't work. You've picked the highest leveraged opportunity vehicle and you stick with it. So, and same thing for scouting girls. If you're sitting there legitimately 10 hours, when I say 10 hours, people say, well, I worked a 10-hour day. No, you fucked around. You took off 2 hours for lunch. Then you had a chat with someone on the phone. Then you fucked around texting back and forth while doing it. And you were checking Facebook and checking this and checking that. You didn't work 10 hours. You maybe worked 3. And you worked 9 of distracted time and lost time that maybe counted for 15 of dedicated work. So you didn't really work 12 hours. And that's what I want to talk about is volume. You have to be serious with the amount of volume you're putting in. When I say put in 12 hours, that's not an easy thing to do. And so when I say it's unreasonable, I legitimately outwork people. People don't realize I do, even things that I'm doing outside of business are for business. Like, I'll eat lunch and I've optimized my lunch to be as healthy as possible, as quick as possible, and as clean as possible so that I have more time to get back into business. I go for a walk so that I have longevity of life while listening to a business podcast so I can learn more about business, okay, and live longer to do more business. And if you're like, oh, that sounds boring, it's not, because it's my number one passion. It's become my number one thing. I've done enough volume where it's become my passion. And how can you beat someone who is that unreasonable with their time? I'm that unreasonable with the things that I do. So, how are you going to win? Now, that being said, I always talk about price increases. And so, I want to give an example. Like, I've talked about how powerful pricing is, and it's something we're going to get into in the OnlyFans content. But I'm putting up the price of the hive today. I sent out a blast email yesterday, and you should always do this before you put up your prices. Always notify people, hey, my price is going up indefinitely. This is actually your last chance to get in, and mean it, okay? Because when you do that enough times, you'll not only get people that jump across, but the stragglers, they'll watch enough times that you're serious that they're like, fuck, and then you'll convert those as well. And so, I'm putting up the price of the hive today. After I've done all my videos, I'm putting up the price, and it's jumping from whatever it is, 70 something up and up and up. I don't like to mention prices here on these videos because in the future, you're going to be like, fuck me, it was that cheap, because I'm just going to continue to go into the multitude of hundreds because of the amount of money that's being made in there. So the price of the hive, though, I'm putting up, and just by increasing it the smallest amount, okay, like $20+ or whatever it's going up, it's actually a 35% increase. And so assuming that it doesn't change the conversion rate between people coming on board, okay, joining the hive, and the amount of time they stay on board, assuming none of that changes, that is a straight up 35% increase, okay, to my profit, because I'm not scaling my costs. I'm not having more costs. I'm not acquiring more customers. So there's no more fixed hard costs or gateway fees or whatever it is. I'm simply making more money. That's all it is. 35% more. And that is fucking massive. And you know the scary thing and the crazy thing is, it'll actually be a lot more than that, because I'm basically qualifying higher leads. Every time I increase the price, only people who are serious are going to come on board. Only people who are more committed are going to come on board. I let people get in early as an incentive, as something nice for people to prove themselves. But I'm only going to get higher quality leads. It's higher perceived value. In fact, I think I'll have more people join, okay? We're going to have a better, stronger community, and we're all going to continue to grow and make more from it. It's just continuous bonuses from putting the price up. And I'll just continue to do that and continue to do that and continue to do that. Now, there is a point. Obviously, I can't charge $1,000 for just random sneakers. It has to be far in excess value-wise of what you charge price-wise. And this is why I told you to break down the value model. I already know that the Hive is extremely undervalued for the price at the moment. For what I could charge, okay, to put it at fair, okay, I am still well off of that. And what's continuously going to be added to the Hive, you know, we have a long way to go yet in terms of price increases. And so I let people get in early. I built the community. We built this massive powerhouse. And now, props to me, well, not props to me, but benefit for me, I'm going to make a shit ton more money by increasing the price. A shit ton more. And I'm feeding it back into the Hive with giveaways, all different things. I'm going to take top members each year. We're going to do resorts. We're going to do all kinds of shit. It's going to be fucking insane. So anyway, I'm pumped about that. And, you know, I just want to give you one last point before we get into the OnlyFans stuff, which is, every time I think like, oh, you know, I could buy this, I could buy that, and I'm thinking, oh, I could have a soundboard to make sound effects funny, but it's just more shit that's not needed. It's like buying the drone. I bought the drone, I used it like twice. It was a massive fuck around, massive waste of time, and I was justifying, oh, I'm going to get better video quality, I'm going to be able to get drone footage, I'm going to be able to get this. Okay, massive fucking waste of time. That being said, like if you can buy software that doesn't add any extra time, that is great, or it saves you time, even better. But every time you're thinking, okay, I'm not making it because I don't have the newest this, or I don't have that, or I don't have a fast iMac, or I don't have, you know, a Yeti mic to talk into for clear quality, or whatever it is. Every time you think that, okay, this is what really, really gave me motivation this year. Alex Amozzi's video where he's filming in a like poorly lit room with his computer screen in front of him, and he's got like a closet, and he's made the closet his office, so he's just locked in there working, no distractions, no nothing. And he was saying, you know, I built my business from nothing to like 20 or 30 million, whatever benchmark it was, from the closet. With no like cheapo gear, no good camera, no great audio, just a phone to be able to call on, and the computer that's there, and he built that to a $30 million business. So if he can do it with that, and you're not at 30 million yet, it's not a software problem. Sure, software may help, and it's a point of leverage, and it may bring other things, but you can definitely succeed without it. Okay, so it's other things that you're missing, and it's most likely volume. All right, let's get into the OnlyFans content. Seiko. Not the Rolly. Everyone's like, why don't you wear a Rolly? Go watch my short of why I don't wear a Rolly. If your mama's house ain't completely paid out, and my mum likes expensive fucking things, fortunately, my mum doesn't want a $300,000 house paid out. She wants a $1.25 million house paid out, okay? If your mama's house ain't paid out, and she raised you, and you're walking around with a Rolly, thinking you're the big sauce, and your mum's still fucking trying to pay out her house, you ain't doing business correctly, or you're not doing person correctly. You're not living correctly. No, you're not doing person correctly. You're not a good person. That's what I think anyway. You know, if you can look at it and say, oh, I feel comfortable wearing this and wearing that, and sure, you can treat yourself and do things, but if you don't even have a plan, more so than anything, to help your mama out, and you're walking around with a fucking Rolly on your wrist, or this or that, or an AP or whatever, don't be coming trying to join the Mac circle, because we're not in the same circle. We are not in the same circle. My blood and my family to me is very important, so take care. And that's the funny thing. People say, oh, why don't you wear this one, you do that one, you got priorities. Big priorities. And unfortunately in Australia we get taxed very heavily on the money that we make. I wish there was alternatives. There is alternatives, but then getting the money back is like, once you convert it back, then you're going to get taxed on it anyway. So, you know, I feel I'm not even at a point yet where it's worrying about moving to Dubai. I've definitely been looking into the options and chatting with some people. But that being said as well, last update, haven't heard anything back from the IG team yet, and it's been 4 days. So normally it's disapproved straight up. So I'm keen to see maybe we're gonna get that message, baby. Come on, it's just gonna say your account has been verified. You will now see a blue badge next to your account. Okay, to keep your blue badge, make sure you have a public profile set. Make sure you have a profile and filled out bio. And make sure you have 2-factor authentication turned on. See, I know it now. I know what it's going to look like. I know what I'm looking for. It's coming. And that being said as well, those dudes that were very poor in business because I submitted myself, as soon as they were like, yeah, all right, well, fucking, he complained. I was going to put up the messages. He complained and all this shit. And then he was like, we'll sort out the refund. Then he's just gone radio silent for days. So anyway, we don't chase dead money. We focus. We're focused. If it doesn't come to fruition, that which I'd see the IG verification coming anyway, which at that point I won't care because I got what I wanted. But if it comes to that point, then I'll give a shout out so you know to avoid this character. Alrighty, so let me put up an actual thing. I'm gonna have to what's it called? IG fucking cover in a heap of it so that you don't see, who the fucking person is and what their messages were and stuff, because they can identify themselves. So, because this is a pretty full-on one. So, bing! Let's just say 2620. Okay? Now, this is $1,000 being made from one conversation very quickly inside the hive. And there are a numerous amount of reasons why this is important. Not simply because of the fact that a manager just made $1,000 for his girl's account, and generally keep mixing them up. Generally, we do 50-50 splits. It's not only that it's $1,000, but tell me, what sort of customer is that? That's the sort of customer who's willing to pay exacerbative amounts. Why am I stuck with the EX words? Exacerbative amounts of money, okay? Humongous amounts of money for a connection. And when you price correctly, a lot of people do it so wrong. Like, this is the difference between two of the Hive members. I had to correct one Hive member today. Someone said, bro, how are you making your money? And he goes, yeah, well, I'm making this. We do the WhatsApp method that I showed where we move them from here to WhatsApp. And he said, basically, we charge $100 for the WhatsApp number, and then the girlfriend experiences $50 a week, and they get numerous texts a day and a photo a day for $50 a week. I cut that. I nipped that straight in the bud. Gone. Do not be doing that shit. Your effort would be far better off focused on a higher value customer like this. Why? Because your operational costs are a lot less. You're investing a lot less time, and it may not seem important now, but when you scale a business, it's very, very important. Okay? It is a lot easier to take care of one customer and make sure they're seeing mass value for a higher ticket price, rather than if that person was to try and do the exact same thing, say 50 ongoing a week, okay, to try and get to that $1,000 point, okay, they would have to have 20 customers to get to that point a week, because if they churn the next week, which a lot of them will churn at a cheaper price point, you need 20 compared to 1. 20 compared to 1. And you're putting out way more. You're putting out 20 times the amount of work, but not only 20 times 7 because you're doing it daily. That was a 1 day, 1 exchange thing. So you're putting out, 140x the amount of work. On top of that, you have lower quality customers. And people say, yeah, but more customers are better. It's not. You're not Nike. You're not these massive corporations. You should be able to turn over hundreds of thousands with a minimal amount of customers before you ever start looking at scale. And we're really going to get into some heavy points to do with pricing and base rate fallacies. But hopefully that was an example for you that, you can have a single conversation and make $1,000 like that. If you have one of those customers a day, just one of those customers a day, you're making $7,000 a week, or $3,500 for the manager and $3,500 for the girl. That's nearly $200,000 a year, just from a single customer you have to take care of a day. And sure, it might take you a lot of the day to prospect those customers, but that's fine. And what happens is you build out this list of high value customers that are extremely valuable. And when you sell something that is very upmarket, very high ticket, you can make, like, if you convert 10% of your 100 on that list and you're charging 3,000 or 4,000 for, like, a personal Zoom call, with this, and this, Okay, you can very quickly make 30 or 40,000 overnight, just like that as well. And if you do that, once every 6 months, you can add an extra 80K just like that. And so all these lessons that I'm trying to give you are just, it's so hard for me to convey it because there are so many fucking benefits to do with pricing. And I wish I learned this early in my career. Every single, let me break it down to the very basic to go all the way back. The sole purpose of business is to provide value, okay, so that you can feel good about what you've done and you're contributing to the world, and to make as much money as possible. That's it. Don't overcomplicate it. And so the simplest way you can check that is every day, are you making more money? Sure, there's plays you can use and investments and different things, but they're only strategies. They all have the same goal. They all are trying to achieve the same outcome. Are you making more and more money each day? That's it. Very, very simple. And the number one biggest thing that I've learned out of the hundreds of books I've read, all the seminars, all the courses, by increasing my price, I have always made more money. I have never made less money. I have always made more money by increasing my price. So why isn't it something that we're continuously doing? And why isn't it something that you're putting the majority of your time and thought into, is increasing the price? And if you're saying I'm having a problem converting, okay, you're only missing one half of the equation. You're not providing enough value. So increase your price and then challenge yourself to create more value. Because when someone sees that something is far in excess value-wise compared to the price, selling to them will be easy. And in OnlyFans, you're in the easiest value industry in the world. People convince themselves why they want your thing. And you simply saying to them, even if they say, well, I wouldn't pay for that, you simply saying, okay, fine, it's not for you. You don't get $100 pussy. You're a $20 pussy sort of guy. Even that will make them more inclined to pay. In no other business in the world does that work. So it's insane. Now, the main thing as well is these base rate fallacies that are holding you back. The first is on pricing. People won't pay that. Wrong. You can hopefully these little testimonials of real people day to day that I'm showing you, like these are recent. Okay, these aren't from the past. These are all recent inside the hive, day to day what we see. Hopefully these are helping you to understand that it's only in your mind that's telling you you can't charge that much. That's the only thing holding you back, is your mind telling you can't charge that much. I should charge 100,000 for the hive. At some point I may just operate exclusively where the hive is just like 10 premium members, all turning over multiple 7 figures a year, 100,000 each. Now we're thinking. Anyway, these are base rate fallacies to do with pricing. And I want to give you 2 other common ones that I hear all the time. And this really just comes down to fear of doing the boring work that I was talking about before, and fear of putting out the volume because things fluctuate day to day, same as everything in life. The base rate fallacy. Oh, well, the industry is becoming saturated. More people are figuring out. The sex industry is not becoming saturated. I can guarantee you that, okay? It is the only industry in the world that works against the supply and demand curve. It's the only industry in the world that really works against that. Because we have a pretty even number of males to females. I believe there are more females in the world than there are males by a very small percent, maybe 2 to 4% from last time that I checked the stats. But you will, because of the fact that your product is individual, you have to understand it can never saturate. Only your ability to market it can be poor. Your ability to perceive others of value is poor. The market is not saturating. People aren't going with other girls because you're charging more. You're just not convincing them of the value. And that's on you. That's a skill that you need to acquire. You thinking that the market is becoming saturated is your justification of saying, I'm going to search for an easier industry to succeed in because this is too hard. And I can tell you, if you're not succeeding in the OnlyFans industry, let me tell you right now, it's cruel cut. Go work a 9-to-5 job, work up the corporate ladder, please, and just keep asking for raises because that's the most money you'll ever make. You will never... Some people are not built for business, and that is you. If you think that it's easier to succeed in another industry outside of OnlyFans, okay, just go work a 9-to-5 job, please. Pick a good 9-to-5 job, work up the ladder if you want to make more money that way because you will not succeed in business. As cruel cut and as cold as that is, that's the message you needed to hear today. Now, another one. oh, I've maxed out all the customers I can reach, which is another way of saying, the market is capped, or there's it's saturated. That's pretty much what you're saying is, I've reached all the customers. You have not reached all the billions of men in the world. Not every single person in the world not every single male in the world has been offered your girl's OnlyFans accounts. And on top of that, there are a lot of bisexual females who would also buy that. So I guarantee you 75% of the world hasn't seen your offer. So you have not capped out. You have not capped out. Sure, things become a little bit harder at scale, and that's why we focus on the importance of high value customers rather than at scale, okay? But you have not capped. You will never cap out your market. You can never. And the cool thing about your market is, more people are being born every second than you could ever market to. By the time those people get to age 18 or 20 or whatever, where you can advertise to them, okay, and you can start to advertise that content to them, you wouldn't have reached the rest of the market that is there and died out. You've got a whole fresh new market of humans. So, all it is volume times time. Choose the highest leverage opportunity vehicle possible, deliver as much value as possible, and charge as much of a price as possible, and you will succeed. That's all it is. You'll make the most money humanly possible. I've just given you the mathematical equation to making money. So, get the fuck out there. Get to work. I've got to put my Invisalign back in. I've done 2 reaction videos with it out, and this while smashing the coffee. I like to drink my coffee slow if you haven't noticed. But I hope you enjoy your day. You don't even have to hit subscribe. I've been asking for something very recently, and I ask if you've watched until now to do this instead. Share this video with one friend that it may help, okay? If this helps even one person, okay, that would be magical. So share this with just one friend. It can be the Spotify link, can be the YouTube link. Just share it with one person, even if it's a person that maybe you want to do business with or you want your friend to do it. So because being rich and alone is boring, you want to bring people up with you, share it with one person, okay? Even if it's just to laugh at it and bring a bit of entertainment into your day, share it with one friend. See you on tomorrow's video, 151. Paka paka.